Hey everyone, I have been getting one question in a variety of forums, and I think it is not something that's addressed clearly by someone. So, I want to take this opportunity to explain clearly what is the difference between a Trojan horse and a botnet. What is Trojan horse? Let me talk in the simplest terms, right? So, I'm sure many of you might have seen this movie Troy, right? So what happens there's a small country, big country, and as the storyline of a movie has to go, the hero of the movie has to come from a small country where they have very less resources, very less ammunition, very less fighters, very less resources with which they can fight against the bigger country. And for obvious reasons, bigger country has all the resources, all the money and everything that any ammunitions or any weapons that money can buy, right? So obviously there are high chances that the larger country or the bigger country would always take over the smaller country in any war, right? Any war. So even if it is 1,000 battles, it is always going to be that bigger country who will take over the smaller country, right? Like obviously, but the story has to make it a little more spicy. So the hero of the movie has to come from the smaller country, right? Now he has to create a moment where the small country tries to take over the bigger country, right? So what happens, right? I just want you to think of this. Say there is a computer, right? And say you are working in your company, right? Say you work for Infosys, Wipro, TCS, IBM, some kind of a company, IT services company, right? Say you are working for the company. So if I want to connect from my computer here, from my house, to your computer, your laptop, which is sitting inside the IBM, HCL, TCS kind of infrastructure, is it possible for me to reach? There are high chances no, because there are probably a lot of security measures in place. You have a firewall, you have a router, you have a switch, you have a hub, you have a layer 3, layer 2 switches, you have intelligent content filtering, URL filtering, protocol filtering, you have patch management, you have so many layers of defense in place, right? They call it the defense in depth, DID, right? So if I want to hack your computer as an attacker from outside, from a public internet, if I want to access your computer which is inside a private network, is it possible? The answer is yes, but it is tough, isn't it? So what happens is, using Trojan horse, right? We were talking about that story where the small country sends a wooden horse, right? They make a huge wooden horse as a at that point in time. I'm talking about those era where you gift a horse, or if you gift a pigeon, white pigeon, or if you have a white flag outside, it means that you win, I lose, it's your supremacy, we lose and you are the winner, kind of, so it's a very clear indication that we give up and you are the almighty, you are the supreme power. But the interesting part here is, in the movie Troy, what happens is they send a wooden horse, right? The small country sends a wooden horse to the bigger country with some soldiers hidden inside, correct? So these soldiers, what they do, they are moved inside they are given as a gift to the larger country, and the larger country happily accepts that as a pride, right? As a sense of pride. So what happens? It bypasses all the defenses in depth, right? You have the firewall, router, switches, access controls, everything is bypassed now. It goes directly inside the palace, right next to the king. Which one? The wooden horse, right? Having said that, imagine there are 3 or 4 soldiers who are hiding inside the wooden horse. They try to observe when the king goes out for break, comes back, when he sleeps, when he has food, everything. They monitor what the king does at what period of time. After a few days of constant observation, the 3 soldiers from inside the horse, wooden horse, decides that this is the right time to kill the king. So they break open the wooden horse and slash the king dead. Wow. Imagine this wooden horse, right, is a disguise software, right? Wooden horse is something that gave an entry to the larger entity or the larger organization, right? If it was not the wooden horse, there are no chances the smaller country would have gone or put something inside the larger organization. Having said that, likewise, I am from a small company or say a company's environment or a home environment. I want to gain access into a corporate environment. What do? I send you a Trojan horse. Okay, what is a Trojan horse? Trojan horse here is a software. I am the developer of the software. I develop the software. Then what does it mean? It simply means the software that I give you and you open it on your computer, will the software that I developed, which you are running on your computer, obey your terms or my terms? I am the developer of the software. Right? It would obviously obey my terms, isn't it? So I put the software in your computer right now. I give you the software, you happily install it in your computer, but apparently what happens? Your computer is now going to obey my commands, isn't it? So now, having said my piece of software is running on your computer, I will use a client machine or a client application, try to connect to the server. Right now the software that's running on your computer is called the server. My application that I'm running on my computer is called the client. From the client I connect to the server. Am I clear? Yes. So always remember, Trojan horse is a client server architecture where the attacker is usually the client, the server is usually the victim, right? The client connects to the server and says, hey, give me the password. So it will try to give the password. It says, hey, give me the screen, switch on the web camera and show me what they're doing, right? Or say, hey, give me all the keystrokes of whatever the end user is typing, including the Gmail password or the ICICI HDFC Bank's password, etc. Right? So it can be anything, right? It can be anything. I can possibly instruct the server saying, hey, give me this particular file, give me access to all the files and folders. Everything is possible, right? Typically, just I'm sure most of you would have used softwares like TeamViewer, right? What does TeamViewer do? There's a client and I connect to a server with the particular number and access code, and I type it and say connect. It immediately gives a remote desktop access of a remote system. Yes or no? Correct? So what happens in a TeamViewer application and from a Trojan horse application is not so different. The intention in which a Trojan horse is created is for malicious reasons. An application like TeamViewer is otherwise called the remote administration tool, right? So they are built for a different reason. Am I clear? So very simple. Trojan horse is a piece of software which has both client and server architecture. The client usually is connecting to the server to ask something malicious in nature, right? Now imagine you have a server running on your computer where I ask you to share your password. The server replies back the password, right? Okay, now you might ask, if I give you the server file, why would you install it, correct? I just wanted to think of this. There are methods where I can bind a particular Trojan horse server file into a legitimate file and give you the file which looks very legitimate. Am I clear? I say, hey, this is a very good game. You want to play, please play. I give it in a USB drive. Now you think it's a good game. You try to install in your computer. What you are installing is not just the game, but also the server component of my Trojan horse. Am I clear? Once that component is installed on your computer, now there is a particular port open on your computer, either on a TCP or UDP. A particular port is open, and my client would connect to that particular port on your remote computer. Am I clear? Excellent. So this is exactly called the Trojan horse. Am I clear? So there are popular Trojan horses available. There's a variety. You can do a Google search for NetBuzz, Sub7, Backorify, MO. So many are there, right? I would strongly suggest, please do give it a try, right? And please make sure you try it on a contained environment. Otherwise, these days almost all the Trojan horses are detected by an antivirus software as a Trojan, right? And gets deleted. So make sure you switch off your antivirus software before you try it. But there are techniques to even bypass an antivirus to find it as a Trojan horse. Am I clear? So this is Trojan. Let us talk a little about botnets, right? What is a botnet? Very simple. Botnet is not so different from a Trojan horse, right? But say in a Trojan horse, a client connects to a server. It's one-on-one connection, one-to-one connection, right? But on a Trojan horse, this is like this. For botnet, what happens is one attacker wants to command or connect to close to 1 million computers. How is that possible, right? If a client wants to connect to a server, I'll put the server's IP on the client and say connect. Very simple. But imagine a botnet. There are 1 million computers that are infected with the server component. Then what will I do? Very simple. When you're talking about botnet, there are few jargons that we'll have to know. Number one, we need to know what is a zombie computer, right? Zombie computers are computers who are infected with the server component. Am I clear? Which means that the server component is running on every single zombie computer. Number one. Number two, the attacker is called the botnet herder, right? Herder meaning someone who herds the sheep, right? So they are called herders. So botnet herder. So imagine they're all bunch of sheeps, right? Then the attacker tries to connect to all 1 million computers. So he is called the botnet herder. And there is something called the C&C channel, command and control servers, right? So what is a command and control server? Okay, this is very important point in a botnet. You have to understand this. So in every single zombie computer, right? When say imagine this computer is a machine that is going to be infected with the zombie. Meaning, I think there is a game and double click the game on my computer. The game opens up and this computer immediately becomes a zombie. Meaning it becomes a server component. But instead, what it will do is it will also now connect itself automatically to a command and a control server. Imagine this computer connects to a command and a control server. And likewise, imagine 1 million computers connected to one command and a control server. Okay? As an attacker, what I will have to do is, I will have to connect only to that computer, which is otherwise called the command and the control server, where all 1 million computers are connected. And I instruct this command and the control server saying, hey, attack www.vinodsenthil.com, enter. When I say this as a command, all the 1 million systems who are zombie machines will receive this message attack vinodsenthil.com as a command and they start executing that. Am I clear? Excellent. So this is how a botnet operates. A Trojan is usually a one-to-one connection, right? One computer accessing another computer. But Trojan horse in contradictory botnet is one to many, millions, right? And the interesting part is you might ask, how can 1 million system be infected? Very simple. I just want you to imagine this. There is a new movie getting released, right? Say for example, there is a new movie, Surya's movie getting released called Surarai Potru. Okay, imagine after this movie has got released, someone downloads a pirated version of the movie and uploads it on some torrents, correct? Imagine instead of the file that gets uploaded to the torrent, which is the actual movie file, what attackers will do is they will embed this with the zombies component, which is the server component. Am I clear? So each and every system which now downloads the Surarai Potru movie now also installs the server component of the botnet. So every system who runs the movie will automatically get connected to the command and a control server, right? And they are all ready to get a command from the command and a control server. I, as an attacker, I will connect to the command and the control server and say www.attackvinodsenthil.com. Am I clear? So the basic difference between Trojan and botnet is simple. Trojan is one-on-one. Botnet is the herder connecting to a command and a control server. Command and a control server connected to 1 million systems. So the botnet herder will send a command to the command and control server saying attack www.vinodsenthil.com. When this command is coming from the botnet herder to the command and control server, this command and control server will do a multicast to all the 1 million machines that are connected as a zombies to that particular command and control server, right? So even if one computer is got caught identifying who it was doing, it will only land back to the command and control server. Am I clear? Usually these command and control server can be of any form. It can be IRC IRC is instant relay chat, usually running on port 6667 and 6668, 6669. These are all popular ports, TCP ports. And it need not be only these kind of IRC servers. These days what happens is, any popular medium which is publicly readable or accessible becomes a potential command and control server. For example, I have a Twitter page handle, right? Say my twitter.com/Vinod Sendhil, for example. Now imagine I compromise 100 computers, and each of these computers, right, or zombie machines, are connected to twitter.com/Vinod Sendhil, for example. Now I will do a status update on my Twitter page saying attack www.vinodsendhil.com, enter. So all the 100 zombie machines which are connected to twitter.com/Vinod Sendhil handle, they will read this message not as a message but as a command and execute them. Am I clear? This is a basic difference between what is a Trojan horse and what is a botnet. I hope you all had something back to learn from this. Make sure you don't try this on any public computers or anyone else's computer. You try this only in your own computer. There are free softwares available with which you can try this, right? Always remember, the best part in one's life is doing what people say you cannot. All the very best.